I was shocked to find that it's super, super negative. It's like to do with like...
Yeah, vice is a negative word.
like a really fucking negative... It's like to do with like if you have like a prostitution problem. Or like
Oh.
I was like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, every definition I found was like, there was no like light vice. It was all like pretty fucking hectic vices. So I guess we'll loosely use the word vice in regards to like, I guess, keeping the scales balanced in your life, if that makes sense, right? I feel like when... I don't know. I feel on like a personal level, if I meet somebody that's like a super well-balanced individual, or like, sorry, not even a well-balanced individual, if they're like a great human being and they do everything, so by the book, and they manage to like keep their life in check, I'm like, you have some fucking secrets in the closet for sure, motherfucker. Like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, you've killed some people. But yeah, I pretty much think it's an important part of life. I know you're a big fan of having things like ice cream. And I'm a big fan of like eating pretty well, doing things pretty well, but then also
I don't know
like,
if I use ice cream as a vice though.
I mean, I feel like if you have too much of something, then it becomes like that negative, right?
All right, let's kick this off then before we get too far
All right.
into that conversation.
Okay. I'm ready.
Do you want to introduce us all today?
All right. Hi guys. Welcome to the podcast, the Living Rewired Apes Edition. Did you want to mention that new news that you had for me that we texted about yesterday?
We'll chime in on that.
We'll chime in on that.
Or did you want to talk about my glasses straight off the bat?
I would fucking love to look at these glasses.
Seeing as we're talking about vices, maybe TV could be a vice in the loose definition.
I think so. Like, I know people that I mean, I like to watch TV when I'm just like relaxing and doing absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to just tune out and zone out. But I also know people that can take that too far. Like when I was in America, we were talking about like numbers for gyms and trainings and things like that, and my friends are like, well, you know, the average American, they just work and then they go home and watch TV, and that's like
very
their
normal for a
hobby.
lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really aware. I think maybe it was like maybe in like Australian culture, like I feel like people are maybe like a little bit more active, or maybe just in my circles people are more active. But I think most people have some kind of hobby or some kind of thing that would let them escape the world that they're currently in, right?
And you know, I think TV gets a bad rap. Like I've even grilled TV myself. Like I've called it the idiot box, and even made a post probably a year ago about things that make you smarter and things that make you dumber. And one of those things that I said that makes you dumber was watching too much reality TV.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think it's all contextual, right?
Correct.
That if you're somebody who is complaining about certain factors in your life where you're not getting X, Y, Z done and time is your excuse, but you watch 15 hours of TV every week, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
TV has become a negative impact in your life. However, when you're a high-performing or highly productive, busy person, and then it gets towards the end of the week and you want to put on some mind-numbing TV to just chill out and relax and reset and recharge the batteries, great.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of similar to how some people might treat like alcohol as well, you know, like a glass of wine at the end of the week, or like sometimes end of the day for some, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think TV, like TV's always been around for me. Like I guess my parents just always let me watch TV, so I kind of had that bad habit growing up. But I definitely like to just have that mind-numbing experience at least like an hour a day, to be honest, which is like I don't know if that's a lot or not.
I don't think that's huge compared to what a lot of other people would do.
Yeah, I'll like literally at the end of so usually it'll be like during dinner if Mon and I are just like we're just done with the day, or like after dinner we're just like gonna chuck the TV on and just watch some shit before bed. She might read a book, I might just watch something. It's usually not reality TV though. I'm not the biggest fan of reality TV. My probably first experience with reality TV watching was during the lockdowns when Mon was like watching The Block, and there was like that show after The Block. What was it called? It was fucking garbage. Love Island. That was fucked, bro. I was like, this is, and I was like, look, this is definitely making me dumber.
That's what I'm saying. But I can also understand how it gets addicting.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like one of
it's
those
the
ones
drama,
where
yeah?
it's like so horrible, but I'm like I'm actually watching this. What the fuck is happening? I could be doing anything. I mean, I couldn't not anything because in lockdown, but like I could have been learning stuff on
Doing
YouTube.
something more
yeah,
positive.
exactly. I could have been doing anything else, but I was like, oh my god, I'm actually like, I wouldn't say invested because I can't express that.
Yeah.
Right, but I was like,
Can't let yourself stoop to that
exactly,
level.
dude. Exactly. I genuinely can't do it. Huh? I feel like I already feel disgusted talking about it.
If you weren't with Mon, you'd be great on Love Island.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean,
Just to stir up some shit.
I feel like you'd play up the character, right? I feel like all that stuff isn't really real. I feel like reality TV's the opposite.
It's not reality.
It's the opposite, right? I feel like you're portrayed a certain way, and like things are edited to make you seem like a potential bad guy, good guy, whatever the fuck.
There is always that risk. You don't know which way it would be produced.
Yeah, there was a guy that trained at the gym, who was on.
I've been approached to go on a few TV shows of that nature.
Oh yeah, like what ones?
The Bachelor.
Yeah. I mean, at the time when
And
you were a bachelor.
not as the Bachelor, but as one of the 20 men when there's the Bachelorette.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, yeah. I like still like I don't really know how that stuff really works, but there was a guy at the gym that was on maths. I remember that. So like Married at First Sight, and
there's a new one, some game show where there's a mole. It's not actually. I don't know what it's actually called. I can't remember. It was a couple of months ago. I got asked about it. Where there's, it almost reminded me of like, what's that game called?
like Whack-A-Mole.
Is it not Cluedo?
Cluedo, yeah, that's
Cluedo the
that's a
one where it
board
was
game,
like-
like where like there's like a murderer. And
Yeah,
like,
it felt like a reality TV version of that kind of thing. There was someone trying to mole and sabotage it. I don't know. I didn't look into it too much because I
Okay.
obviously wasn't interested.
Yeah. I mean, that does sound more interesting though than just like attractive people trying to like.
If I
woo
was
other
on it
attractive
though,
people.
I would 100% want to be the mole.
Yeah, you don't want to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you want to be in the in crew, right?
Yeah.
I won't mention names for this one, but I do know somebody that and like yeah, I hope they're okay with me telling the story. But I do know
Fuck 'em.
somebody that was fuck him, dude. But they were seeing this chick, and and like they had this chat one day where she goes to him and she's like, hey, so I really like you, but I've been asked to go on Farmer Wants a Wife, and I really want to get on this show. So is it okay if we go on like a break till after the show? And he was like, and I spoke to him about it. I was like, well, do you like her like that? Because if you do, then you gotta fucking you gotta tell her, right? Like you gotta be like, nah, that's not cool. I don't know if you ever had that conversation with her, but she went on the show with the intention just to get famous and to lose the show. And then after the show was done, she actually hit him up. I'm not sure if they ever like hooked up again or anything, but I thought that situation was hilarious. I was fucking in tears.
But
about
that's legitimate. Like, I feel like the majority of people, because we've seen it happen, is that people who are nobody go on the show.
Oh yeah.
They create a fan base and a social media following, and then their life's opportunities open right up if you're liked.
I mean, even if you're disliked, I think. You
Yeah,
know?
true.
It's like one of those ones where I
You
think
can play heel.
Well, I think it's like that saying, any publicity is good publicity, right? And if like you being the bad guy on a show or like the disliked person on a show builds your Instagram following from like 1,000 followers to 100,000 followers,
But the people that are
opportunity's
going
go.
on these shows, whether it be Maths or Love Island or whatever they are, I don't believe for a second that they're going there for that thing or with any true intention that that's what they're going to find.
Right.
I believe
Correct.
that it is a full media and publicity stunt. Another one actually that I nearly went on, and I actually went through the phases, was Ninja Warrior.
Oh shit!
Because I was
actually
like,
do know
I
the
will
Ninja
be
Warrior.
fucking good at that.
Yeah.
I'll dominate it.
I know Josh Sullivan. So Josh Sullivan won the Ninja Warrior, I believe, twice.
Right.
He's like fully left the world now, but he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's fucking great at it.
And it got all the way through till the very last selection, and you had to come and there was like a physical tryout kind of thing down once they'd weaned the numbers down, and I just kind of because that's it, full transparency. That was my thought process. I was like, look, this could be really good from an exposure point of view.
Yeah.
To help rocket business, but at what price did it come at compromising my integrity of what kind of coach and health professional I wanted to be known as? And I felt like it did. And it just, yeah, again, I pulled out of it. I don't know.
To my knowledge, though, I think Ninja Warrior is less of like a reality show and more of like an actual sport, though, right? Like,
I agree.
Because I know, like, when I was speaking to Josh about his training, he literally had, like, I guess a gymnastics gym where they trained for Ninja Warrior stuff. So it seems like it's pretty, like, it's not just like you're going on a show to...
No, it wasn't a personality type.
There's like an actual...
drama one. There was
like,
a skill to it.
Yeah, there's a talent element to it, which I think that doesn't make it like reality show. Similar to, I guess, the Ultimate Fighters. I guess like the early ones, it was like people just wanting to actually fight, but now it's... I haven't seen one in a while, actually, so I'm not sure how it goes.
The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Are they still doing them?
Yeah, the new one's being aired right now with Connor and Michael Chandler as coaches.
Yeah, right.
So I think they're maybe 5 or 6 weeks through. Apparently, Connor's team hasn't won a single fight.
Is it pretty like dramatized, or is it like...
I haven't actually seen an episode yet, but they're showing it on KO.
Oh, right. No shit. Yeah, no shit.
Which is, but yeah, it's weird that it wouldn't be on Fight Pass.
Probably just the rights, man.
It was,
I do know... I don't even know if the old Ultimate Fighters are on Fight Pass.
Yeah, they are.
They are? Okay.
Yeah.
Because like, I used to have... I think I still have the DVD somewhere, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I still probably have one of the Ultimate Knockouts original DVDs with like Chuck Liddell and all those kind of guys back in... It's probably like 20 years ago.
I used to love Chuck Liddell,
15 years ago. Yeah,
Chuck Liddell and the Randy Couture saga.
Yeah.
Some of the best times in MMA.
They were pioneers of the sport.
Yeah, I mean, and like such... I feel like at the time, so marketable for like how small the sport was. You know, like
well, UFC is definitely, or mixed martial arts in general, is most definitely the fastest growing sport.
Oh yeah, in the last like
decade.
Yeah, I mean, I've been training for now 13 years, and I was probably like watching MMA maybe 15, 16 years ago, and it has changed a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a very exciting time for jiu-jitsu too, because even on Fight Pass yesterday, there was the Invitational, Jiu-Jitsu Invitational.
Yeah, Craig managed to pull off a victory.
Yeah, he sounded sick too.
He sounded sick. He did. He gets sick pretty often. That guy. Like I don't know what it is, but he's fucking like whenever he's in Melbourne and stuff, he's always getting sick. Like,
but he does a fair bit of travel, like flying around. So I feel like planes in general, you're 50-50 of whether you're going to get sick with that just dirty air circulating, and then sometimes like the time differences. Or the jet lag, throwing your circadian rhythm out, that can probably affect your immunity. I don't know how well Craig manages his nutrition.
I think he eats like shit.
Yeah.
But like I think he just sees it as calories.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. Like, I mean, my experience with Craig is we've just always had like burgers and milkshakes and shit for calories, you know. So.
Well, when you're trying to just put on weight and be at that heavy weight category, it's that kind of makes sense. But did you watch them all? I watched
the first half and I watched Craig's.
Yeah.
So, because I was teaching at the gym and we had it on in the background.
Yep.
And I was cleaning the mats and then I had to go shower and then I drove home and that was when we
were texting.
Like we texted when I walked to the car and then I don't think I called you, did I?
See the highlights of...
No.
Nah, I don't think so. Did you see the highlights of Nikki's armbar escape though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was nervous watching. That got my heart rate up.
It's very cool to see that sort of stuff happen, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure if any damage or how much damage has happened from that. But I will say that when it comes to like submissions, you usually need like momentum to stop. But he just kept that momentum going in like every direction. He just didn't stop moving pretty much. Just technically the right thing to do. Like under that stress and duress, it can be tough though. Obviously, he was willing to let some kind of poppage,
damage happen.
Damage to happen.
Without a doubt, that is very sore today.
You'd be surprised, man. Sometimes people can be pretty like resilient with that sort of stuff. Like I've definitely escaped armbars in like a very similar way and been like, I'm lucky to not have any damage. But it's possible that it's like it just looked worse than it is. Like I'll have to watch it again. I literally only saw like the highlights of that. I didn't get to watch that full match. I know he managed to get the rear naked choke in overtime, but yeah, I'll have to watch that again to have like a specific analysis on that situation.
Do you know who else I watched doing some jiu-jitsu yesterday?
Tell me.
You.
Me? What did I do?
I just, out of curiosity, I chucked your name into YouTube and watched some of the
throwdowns.
The Yahaya highlights.
Yahaya highlights.
And was very surprised actually when I saw you wearing a very bright yellow spat and
The
rash
Wolverine
guard.
outfit.
Man, that was out there. I liked it. That was vibing.
Yeah, that was so that was when I was a purple belt. My dad bought me a Wolverine rash guard and short spats for Christmas on my birthday. I remember I was like, and that in grappling industries you can wear whatever the fuck. So I was like, I'll wear it.
Yeah, it was. I actually really enjoyed getting to watch him sort of see that other alter ego of
See me in
yourself.
my youth.
Do you is that something that's become your jump that you do before you touch hands?
Always.
Is that now that's a ritual that happens every time you compete?
I would say it happens 90% of the time.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Hey,
Does it help like sort of blow a bit of nerves out and some energy with just that big explosion?
I think it might be.
Or are you just trying to show off some athleticism? Because it's not a bad jump.
No, it's not a show off thing. I think it makes me kind of feel like I'm fucking ready.
It's go time. Yeah.
I think so. I think it's like
A
that.
little mental click.
Like, I typically like to I'm like before a match I'm like pacing or bouncing around a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like calf raising. But yeah, I'm usually on my toes, bouncing around a bit, and I guess I just do that final jump at the start of most matches. There was like maybe like twice in like the last couple of years that I haven't jumped, but so like the 2 times I haven't jumped was because my knees were very sore.
How did it feel being back in the competing pool?
It was fun. It was
How long off was it?
a year. I hadn't competed in a year. I hadn't competed since trials last year where I was sick. Yeah, it was nice to get back into it. I wish like more happened in the match. Unfortunately, the match didn't go my way. It went to Ali's way via judges' decision. I think 5 judges on the panel.
Through advantages?
No.
There was no advantages?
It's a sub-only match.
Yeah.
And from watching previous shows of the same show, the sub attempts were typically the ones that. The sub-attempts were the ones that usually decide, or the people that took risks within those sub-attempts are the ones that usually like got a decision or like looked better in the judging panel. From in my match, though, it kind of went the opposite way, where his like control positions got more of a judging score than my like, I guess, wild style.
You do have a wild style.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to. This is something that I'm like working on myself. I feel like back in the day, I was kind of always the underdog. So, like, that chaotic style was, like, fun as fuck for me. Now it's, like, it's not... It's
entertaining.
It's still equally as fun, but I feel like that's also where I can lose, right? Obviously, in chaos, right, there's a chance that, like, you can just get caught in something, right?
Sure.
And I feel like now I'm not necessarily always the underdog in a match, and I feel like that kind of pressure is something I got to work on mentally a little bit. I feel like I feel like I still have a wild style, but I'm not taking as many risks as I used to, and that was like the thing that I was fucking known for. Like, if you asked me what I was gonna do in a match, I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna do what I feel like is the best decision right then.
So where does this? Where do you feel you are right now on a career path?
On a career path, I'd still like to compete.
We going to ADCCs?
I'll do the trials in Singapore in November, and I think the reason why like my mentality has shifted a bit is because I am teaching so much, and I take a lot of pride in my teaching, and my competing style is very different to my teaching style.
That's where, like, I've obviously known you for a long time now.
Yeah.
We've been mates. We've had hours of conversation. We've trained together. I've been in your classes, all sorts, but I hadn't actually seen you competing that much, and that's where I got. Not the surprise. I don't know really why I'd be surprised, but you are just typically such a relaxed, nice guy who's teaching in a very calm and clear manner as well.
Yeah.
And you're right. Your competing style was a very big contrast to that.
It's very different
in the chaos, and I appreciated saying it.
Yeah, it's something that I don't like. I think I gravitated towards teaching in a different way, not to suit the masses, but to communicate better, right? So I think like most people, and I really mean, I think most people need like a step-by-step process.
Yes.
Right? But there are some, so that's like, I would say that's the more methodical and the critical kind of learner. But then there's also like the radical learner, which is like,
This would be cool to chat with Lockie about when he comes on.
Absolutely, right? and this is where we'd have difference in opinions, I think. But I think we'd also respect each other's opinions in that, because we're also very different as people, Lockie and I.
So break down your belief.
Oh, so my belief is like when you're teaching a class, right? Not so much that you want to teach the masses, but you want to use like specific language and give options to kind of not generalize, but to show people that like this is potentially one way to do things, but there are other ways to do things, and these are the other options. But like statistically, this is like the most objectively used pathway.
The highest
right?
value, yep.
And if you're working on probabilities, I would say like, yeah, sure, that's the best way to do it. But like, what puts someone as an outlier? Like the best people in the world, or like, yeah, I guess the best people in the world in any given field aren't doing things down the proper chain of command typically, right? They usually have there's something unique
to the way that they do it.
There's an outlier attribute that they have, or maybe something potentially weird that they do that people just don't have an answer for, right? And that's like, and that I think is quite a beautiful thing.
I agree, because if you do something by the book, the defense to that is also taught by the book.
Correct, right? And that's how I think coming up the ranks, I would beat people that I thought were better than me, because like
You would do something unorthodox.
correct, I would beat method with chaos. Right? And linking this back to like to balancing out life and things like that, right? Like I have like a pretty normalized routine, you know, like train 10 a.m. most days. It changes on the day sometimes. And then there's weights that I train about 2-3 times a week, right? Depending on the day and depending on my schedule, it'll change as well. But then there's also like the random things that I do like within that day where even though I preach trying to obviously to maximize your life by having like a pretty well-balanced diet, well-balanced sleep, things like that. If I'm just feeling flat one day, I'm like, I'm just going to fucking have a bunch of food right now. Just make like a fucking radical decision there and then, a spontaneous radical decision. And most of the time, it makes me feel better. It's almost like the listening to your body and listening to what your body needs, like sort of scenario. And like, I know sometimes when I speak to people about it, they're like, that was such a weird decision you made. And I'm like, yeah, but I felt like I needed to make it. Otherwise, I'd have a shit day.
Just the food?
Usually food, or maybe just even like, or just like going home and like chucking the PlayStation on, or fucking just spending like an hour watching like fucking shitty YouTube compilations, or like a fucking like live.
You can get lost in YouTube.
There was a
YouTube's
time in my life.
I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, there was a time in my life where YouTube was honestly my best friend. I was like, I could just fucking hang out with YouTube.
In terms of like, we were talking about TV, right?
Go on.
I would spend way more time on YouTube than I would on anything like Netflix.
Absolutely, I'm the same, 100%. Yeah, like there's something that I haven't done in like a couple weeks.
It's the second biggest search engine to Google.
I believe that for sure.
So it is. It's a fantastic resource for learning. Like even, and that's when we look about like whether it be TV or just chill out time. You can again still choose to consume more positive media, whether that be a podcast, and you might not necessarily be listening with great intent, but there's still positive messages being reinforced behind it. Or when there's, for example, I think one of the biggest return on investments in terms of a skill to learn would be some culinary skills. Some skill in the kitchen. Because obviously if you learn the ways to make your nutrition taste better, it's a lot easier to enjoy it and you become quite efficient. And the reality is ignorance is a choice today.
Yeah.
Things like I'm no chef, but
you could look it up.
But I got pretty sick of chicken, brown rice, and barbecue sauce or some broccoli.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. And these days, it is not hard to get some inspiration on YouTube from all of the amazing chefs that exist there in the world, whether that be like people like Ramsay or, I don't know. I don't know that many chefs' names. I love Gordon Ramsay. But it is so easy to get quick cooking tutorials. And if there's something in there that may not be a desirable ingredient based on your nutritional literacy, it's very easy to make some substitutes with that and just understand what herbs and spices and flavors go really well with different types of foods. Like, it's very easy to upskill by using YouTube for anything, even if it's not the kitchen. It might be technology. How do I do this? How do I do that? Answering questions.
I mean, you've
It's
learned a lot
awesome.
about how to set up a podcast, I'm sure, from YouTube,
100%.
right? Yeah.
100%.
Two things I wanted to say there, just with like the kitchen thing. I think like the kitchen, or like even learning how to use a kitchen, like including cooking or not including cooking, I think is super important.
How do you use a kitchen without cooking?
I meant in regard, in regards to like the management of a kitchen, right?
Like the feng shui?
No, not the feng shui.
What do you mean?
Well, actually, kind of the feng shui. So let's just say, like, if you were like to design a kitchen, right? If
Yes.
like the stove was too far away from the sink,
Yes,
and like,
yes.
and there was no like, and there's no like
functional kitchen.
a functional kitchen, right? And using a functional kitchen, I think, is important. So like, I was so shit at that.
It helps.
For many years, right? I just had like, I just didn't even think of like kitchen skills as like managerial skills. But now I'm like, someone that works a kitchen well has great managerial skills, right? If you know how to cook like many different things using like all the different stoves and using like everything necessary in the kitchen, I think you have great managerial skills. Currently, that's not me. It's something that I'm working on. But yeah, I'm down to get better at it. The next thing I wanted to say was, do you like live music?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of music do you like to like listen to or watch?
I've got a very broad
Yeah, okay.
range of music that I enjoy. I grew up on rock music
Same.
because my old man is a massive rock music lover.
What kind of rock? Like 70s,
He was
80s?
notorious for
60s?
basically controlling the music in the Australian cricket dressing room.
And what kind of music is that?
AC/DC,
Right.
Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Rolling Stones,
Shout out, Dad.
Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, all of those things. And I had this conversation with somebody not long ago. I was like, if you had to choose one genre of music that you had to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be? And mine was rock.
Yeah.
What would yours be?
I want to say like 60s, 70s rock. But a part of me is like, I really like pre-rocks, kind of like that blues, right? So like, kind of like when Elvis was starting to become rock, like I guess like when pre-rock, I think.
So do you like Otis Redding?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like I love that kind of music.
I walked out to Otis Redding against Taliesin actually the last boa to Hard to Handle.
See, I like that kind of
Yeah.
jam, but I also like hip hop
Yeah,
and rap music and that kind of culture.
like modern or like 90s or
90s.
yeah.
I have a hard time getting around much of the modern stuff. And at times it hasn't been as much of interest over the last couple of years, but I was right into techno for a while.
Right.
Heavy techno, but that was probably when I was partying a lot more as well.
It would remind you of those endorphins.
Yeah, you have a lot of good. I've had some good times with the techno scene. Recently, though, bro, I've actually been listening to a bit more classical music.
Like Renaissance sort of thing? Or?
I couldn't tell you any of the artists, any of the names, but I've just found it that, because you make your playlists on your Spotify or whatever, and, I'm in the car or I'm in the gym. Like, I always have music playing. Like, a lot of people maybe in their typical 9 to 5, maybe they're in an office environment and they don't have music playing. I'm in the gym where the music is going all the time. So I kind of found myself just getting a bit sick of hearing the same shit. And just having classical music on in the background has just been very tranquil, very peaceful while I'm either driving, zoning out, and I can sit with my own thoughts, whether I'm in the kitchen. It's just it's relaxing. I like it. There seems to be a lot of evidence, too, behind classical music and its positive effects on, I suppose, brain function and
I'm not sure about that, but
concentration.
I definitely understand what you say. So, I mean, what you're saying, because like the calm before the storm, typically like before I compete, I try my best to listen to pretty calming music, to be completely honest. Like, it's like sometimes even classical and things like that.
Well, what we're talking about here is arousal, management of arousal.
What do you mean?
Well, if we look at performance,
let's
stick with jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
This could even flow into probably, sexual performance as well, right? Seeing as we've been speaking about premature ejaculation so much lately.
That's you. I haven't been talking about it that much.
I have been. But
I've been listening, though.
The reality is there is an optimal amount of arousal. If you are under-aroused, you're probably going to underperform and not have the stimulation to probably be aggressive
The boom boom.
and to punch. No. But, well, yeah, if we're talking about the bedroom, maybe the flag won't fly if you are under aroused. But if you're over aroused, we're too pumped up, we're too amped up, that can start to distort clarity within your thinking, your decision making, your problem solving. You may be too heightened in emotion, or if it's in the bedroom, it might result in popping off early. So there is an optimal amount of arousal that you want to be in for performance. And I'm sure there's a little bit of a, leeway there based on the individual of what best suits them.
Yeah. How, I wonder if you could I wonder how you'd even test that for a sporting element. Like let's say if you had a 10-minute match, what is that proper amount of calm before the storm? Should you?
There would be people at high level sports with sports psychologists and some sort of sports science testing.
But the fact that it changes so much depending on the variable of the person and
But I reckon that's where the best of the best figure out their formula, their ritual, their pre-match ritual.
Like the 3 people that are smarter than us that can figure it out.
Just the 3?
Just the 3 people that are smarter than us.
Maybe 4.
Maybe 4. The other thing I wanted to mention about music is I fucking love, one of my favorite things to do on YouTube is to watch a live concert. I don't know what there's just something about it, man. I think I enjoy that more than being at a live concert.
I used to play this game with one of my best mates growing up when we were 19 or 20, and it would only ever be played when we were high. Okay. But it was a good time. So obviously, you choose a song on YouTube, and then down the side you get the recommended songs. So we would take it in turns of choosing the song. So we're hanging out, listening to music, getting high, having a laugh, and just enjoying the music. Yeah, it was a good time. But the fun was in the back and forth of the communication about
why you chose that,
or more so when you choose the recommended song, you got to think about what path that's taking you down. What's the next list of recommended songs that you're going to get, right? So then a bit of banter would come out. Look, you've put us in the shit with that selection. We got nothing good, and we're trying to find our way back. And you get forced to choose some subpars just to get back. But good memory. That was good times.
I got to play this once. It's it's a pretty similar thing, but it's called the Wikipedia game, where you have to I guess there's 3 people involved, and it's 2 people racing, starting at the same Wikipedia page, and you have to try and use the hyperlinks to get to one other page. So let's just say if you started at Metallica, and you had to you had to find the Wikipedia page on clouds. You had to click all these different hyperlinks on the Wikipedia until you got, and the first one to get to clouds to then win. Or
how the fuck do you get to clouds from Metallica?
No, so that's the point, right? But there's so many hyperlinks on Wikipedia that it is possible. Right?
I haven't spent enough time on there, to be honest.
It's a complete fucking waste of time.
I understand
it's a complete fucking waste of time, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the facts on Wikipedia are
factual.
Terrible. No, they're terrible. Can't anyone just add to it?
I think so. I'm not sure. I don't have a Wikipedia account, but I think it gets audited pretty well now. But it's not. I mean, it gets referenced.
Well, put it this way: I was going to, but we unfortunately didn't have the time line up where my old man was over last weekend, and we were going to do a podcast, and we were going to talk about leadership and the captaining of Australia, and
was your old man the captain of Australia?
He wasn't, but he worked alongside Alan Border, who was the captain. So
I don't know enough about
cricket. Yeah. But in preparation for that, I did a little bit of research on my old man just to get some stats up on his career and things that I don't memorize, right? But as I was reading through some, I was like, this is bullshit. This is just an absolute lie, some of it.
His son, Josh.
No, I didn't get a mention.
Fuck.
Yeah. But speaking of watching some TV, and I know that watching TV in bed is something that I normally would advise against.
Okay.
If you have sleeping issues. But it was Friday night and the Ashes is on, and I do like cricket. And I was watching some cricket in my lazy glasses.
Is there a term for these glasses? Are they actually called lazy glasses?
Yes. So right now, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I can tell. I can see your eyes.
Can you see it?
I can see your eyes. Yes,
mate. These are a game changer because I was sitting in bed doing the same a couple of weeks ago and was complaining at my neck position. And I figured someone had to have invented this already.
I feel like, so the first time I'd ever, I hadn't seen glasses about this, but I'd seen to see over certain heights, right? So you could like, it's like binoculars, but like if you were to see over a fence, you could see over a fence. So I'd
Really?
I'd seen a version of that before, but I don't know the name of it.
Try them on.
I'll have to try these on.
But for reading a book or on your phone, it'd be fantastic.
Well, I'm like
obviously you're not getting the full experience right now. Yeah, so you can lay flat with your neck in good posture.
That's ridiculous, dude. I feel like
and watch TV, read a book, respond on your phone.
Wait, so you'd have your phone up here?
No, down by your hips.
You're gonna look down.
Yeah, it's perfect. So you just lay flat on bed, but it's looking that way.
Have you tried sitting up in bed or?
Mate, no way. I'm not in bed to be working hard.
You don't want to burn calories. You don't want to burn calories.
Exactly. I'm trying to grow right now, bro.
I get it. Respect.
But in all seriousness, I feel comfortable after one day to recommend these as a product for well-being.
Oh, did you use them yesterday for the first time?
Yes. Like forward head posture.
So you're going to say that
it's a problem.
So this is a form of balancing your life out then?
I believe so.
Yeah, right.
I believe so. It's probably a little bit like putty in the wall, like you're plugging holes. But for sure, if you want to sit up or sit in bed, and whether it be reading, whether it be watching some TV and looking after your posture, I'm an advocate for the lazy glasses.
Where did you get them?
Amazon. They were $15.
Oh, wow.
Worth the $15, I reckon.
A good $15 spent.
Definitely a good $15 spent.
They don't even sponsor us, dude. Why are we trying to sell this shit?
Well, other things that I posted about through the week.
Tell me.
Was with our new sponsors was a night guard.
You wearing it?
Not right now.
I was like, you fucking wearing?
No. I sound like Mike Tyson when I've got it. I got a full list.
You got that lift.
Do you grind your teeth at night?
I think I sometimes do.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know. I have been told that sometimes I grind my teeth and I don't realize it.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I don't know. I don't know what the cue is or why why I sometimes do and why I sometimes don't. Mm-hmm. So night guards, they're to prevent the
grinding,
friction
for
of the
sure,
grinding,
and the I guess the wearing of your teeth, and I definitely do have a little bit of that. Luce has definitely mentioned to me that she does hear me grinding sometimes.
It's not Bronson?
No, that's not Bronson. I don't know. Can dogs grind their teeth?
I definitely hear my dogs grinding their teeth.
Really?
Yeah. But I think I've been dreaming and shit. So like,
and I had a crown done recently because I had a crack in my tooth. Don't you have a chip?
Yeah. That's fucking such a stupid
Is it sensitive?
Story. No, dude. I feel like it's like the most fucking monkey shit I did too, dude.
What'd you do? How'd you do it?
Bro, I had like a great day, right? It was like a day where nothing could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like just there, like Mon had cooked a fucking great dinner. It was like she cooks like this pretty like healthy, kind of like a coleslaw butter. Sorry, not butter. A coleslaw peanut butter nut flavored chicken dish thing with like rice. So it's like real delicious and it's spicy, right? It's nice.
Bit of a satay vibe.
And it was like the first time she made it, and I was like, oh fuck, this is good. And I just bit into my fucking fork, dude.
Ooh, that hurts. I've done that before.
It didn't hurt. It just made the loudest noise, and I fucking knew straight away.
Which tooth?
It's the front one.
The front one? I can see that a little bit.
Tiniest bit.
Are you going to go see the Melbourne Smile Boutique?
I guess I have to now.
Yeah.
Well,
they're going to look after you, right?
Well, I mean, like Mon told me to get it sorted before the wedding, and I was like, no one's going to notice. Don't worry. And obviously...
Has it been sensitive?
No, I can't feel anything.
That's
it's just
good.
like, well, at the start I could feel it in my tongue, but I guess now it's kind of like, it's not as chippy. It's kind of like.
And when you've got something like that, do you find you're
playing with it,
always touching it, and then you get a sore tongue?
For the first week I was.
So annoying.
For the first week I was, but then I stopped, and now I forget it's there until I like look at my teeth up close, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. No, but I've chipped a few teeth in my time, and they do get very sensitive sometimes when you chip them. Tooth pain sucks, bro. Like any nerve pain.
Yeah, I've been lucky that I've never had my wisdoms out or anything. I've got like one that was growing like horizontal on this side, I think. and that used to get sore. And then the last time I saw the dentist, they were like, "Well, it looks exactly the same from like a year ago, so I don't think it's actually moving. So you shouldn't need surgery unless it starts to move." So I've had pretty good luck with teeth my whole life. So touch wood that it stays that way. But yeah, I'll definitely like look them up, and I believe it's like across the road from me as well.
Yeah, so the Melbourne Smile Boutique, they've got stores in South Yarra, just on Chapel Street at the top there.
Yeah, that's where I live.
Yeah, exactly. And then they've got one in Richmond, like in the IKEA complex. I think they've got a few around Melbourne. So if you're listening to this and you've got any dental issues, whether that be, chips, whether you just need general cleaning, whether you actually want whitening, they're offering anyone who, I suppose, books in off the back of, hearing our content and mentioning either our name or the podcast, you're going to get big discounts, nearly $200 off teeth whitening.
Yeah, right.
They're going to do mouth guards, so any of the jiu-jitsu or combat athletes that need to get some dental protection, go check them out because they're going to hook you up with a cheaper mouth guard, but still in really good quality, obviously, dentist made. And
I'm a big fan of custom mouth guards.
And man, yeah, for sure. I've never worn anything out though. I don't know how people do the hot water melted ones.
Like the Rebel Sport fucking ones.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Don't even waste your time. You might as well put a fucking orange peel in there.
Yeah.
But the night guard, I've only had 2 nights sleep in it now, but I had really good sleep in it.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like it allowed me to practice nose breathing a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. And just by doing that, it had me a little bit more relaxed in my jaw for sure. And looking at my aura stats, whether it be coincidence or not, it's too early to tell. I need to be consistent with it and do some reviewing on the stats. But my REM sleep, which is my dreaming activity, was way up.
You're a big fan of the Oura Ring, aren't you?
I am. I really like the information, the stats that it gives me. It allows me to make some somewhat objective decisions on whether I need a day's rest or... it's not like it actually does anything for you.
But the data
what
gets you a trend.
Is that it influences human behavior. So, you give somebody an Oura Ring or something of that nature, and they think that they sleep well, and then they go, "Oh fuck,
I don't sleep.
My
well.
sleep's actually nowhere near as good
Well,
as what I
could make it better. I can make it better.
Yeah, and then that's exactly it. You start to get competitive with it, and you want to improve your sleep score. So what do? You change your behavior and your habits around sleep hygiene. So those things like you start getting to bed earlier. You stop turning TV off in your bed. You start sleeping with your phone away from your person. You might
why the phone away from the person? Like you have said it before, but I keep forgetting.
One of them's like the main one there, whether it be the TV or whether it be your phone, is that the blue light from screens inhibits the secretion of melatonin from the pineal gland. So melatonin's what's responsible for putting you to sleep. So being on the screen and scrolling is definitely going to be
like pre-bed.
Going to be detrimental to you being able to fall asleep.
Yep.
And so removing that temptation away. And I mean, if you want to go that one bit further, we could start to discuss some of the effects of EMFs. So things like 5Gs and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. There seems to be a
like from the vaccine or like 5G from the vaccine sort of thing, or
yeah. Well, you're microchipped, aren't you?
A fucking pro microchip, brother.
But those things seem to be having detrimental effect on human health, particularly with hormone and fertility function.
Yeah, right.
So it's still new, but I have no doubts.
Are you the one that has the Are you the person that has the glasses for
the blue light blocking?
The blue light blocking glasses? Is that you?
I'm sure I'm not the only one
that I know. I don't know. I think I know one of maybe 2 people, maybe just one.
I do have some blue light blocking glasses. I occasionally wear them at home when I have longer days in front of the laptop.
Yeah. So blue light comes from any screen? Yep. Okay.
But to be honest, I just they're just like an orange lens. So sometimes I even just wear them out and about, even driving. It's just nice.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, I feel cool. Feel like Bono.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Feel like Bono.
That's really not cool though. Bono's a fucking loser, isn't he?
I don't know enough. I mean,
I tell you what though, rock
I know
music.
you too.
They're claimed to be the best rock band of all time by many people.
I feel like growing up, like my dad loves U2.
My dad
My dad loves them, huh?
So do you like them?
I think I might do because my dad likes them.
Okay.
Because like I grew up with it, and it's
Yeah.
like that nostalgic feeling.
I can't buy Bono.
Yeah, right.
Too much cheese.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Edge as the guitarist. He's meant to have like 600 guitars or some shit. I know. I have like weird information about music. I love music so much, man.
Actually, you fancy yourself as a bit of a rock star as well. I noticed on YouTube. It's not the first time I've seen you singing with a guitar.
Is there videos of me on YouTube singing?
Is there? Don't act like you haven't looked it up yourself.
I'll have to take this down. I'll have to take it down, dude.
It's not on your page.
I don't think I have a YouTube.
Who are these people who are getting footage of you? You're obviously sending it out.
Nah, I reckon it'll just be, just fucking people in the globe, dude.
People in the globe.
I'll just be fucking hanging out, playing guitar, and like, I might film this guy. He might be famous someday.
Oh, so you're like a busker.
I actually tried to apply for a busking. I went to apply for a busking license once.
Oh, do you need to apply for a busking license?
It's like 50.
You can't just pull up
It's
on
like
the street.
$50 for a year, and at the time I was like, nah, fuck that. I can't be fucked. Like, surely you can just.
Who's gonna do you busking? Like something.
Bro, we live in Australia.
Yeah, but you really are the cops gonna do that? Like, hey, bro, can you show me your license to be able to play here on the footpath?
I feel like they might, dude. I don't know. I mean,
maybe in the CBD.
Yeah, maybe. I believe in the CBD they actually do. Like, I think you have.
That's what I'm saying. In the CBD,
no, but I think in the CBD, I think you need to have a special like you need to be like a really good musician. Like, you can't just be like a shit musician. Busking.
That doesn't surprise me in Melbourne though.
Yeah, like I think you have to like qualify.
So do you reckon you'd qualify? You're good enough?
I don't know. Maybe not as a guitarist, but I like to think I can
as
sing.
a musician. Yeah,
like, I reckon I can sing pretty well.
Your voice wasn't bad, to be fair. I'll give you that.
I feel like if I didn't pursue jiu-jitsu as a career, I would have pursued music.
Really?
And the reason why I pursued jiu-jitsu
Probably the only thing that's tougher to become successful at.
I just want to have no money.
Yeah.
I hate money. No. I mean, I always said that jiu-jitsu kind of has, as a competitor, it has like a timeline. You can't be old and like compete, or older and compete. Whilst like music, you can play at any age. And I'm not gonna, I'm not trying to be the musician that's like that is famous for like looking good. I would always want to be a musician that like played good music, if that makes sense. Like I feel like a lot of I guess fame these days come from like people just like looking good and like having some kind of talent. Right?
I think you look good, bro.
Thanks, bro. Well, we'll see how I age. I might age terribly.
Maybe.
Or it could be like that George Clooney thing, right? So
like a red wine.
just a fucking silver fox, dude.
Just gets better with time. It is a bit unfair like that. Men do probably almost get better looking, and women not so much.
It's hard to say, man. I feel like it's just the individual, dude. Like some people just look better older. Like I remember like being in high school and then like seeing chicks that were like 10s back then, like later on in life, and they like and they didn't. But same with dudes, like dudes peaking in high school as well. Like they were like the fucking like the guy to be.
Mate, you even see that from kids. You see some kids and you're like, wow, you're a beautiful kid. And then
what happened?
And they think, what the fuck happened? Exactly. Or you see people and they got like really good looking parents, and then they've just got a full prawn.
They got the shit stick.
Yeah, it's like, how the fuck did that happen?
Full prawn.
Yeah, exactly. Do you hold any nerves, or how do you feel about getting older and aging, physically, aesthetically? Is it something that you think about? Is it something that you don't?
It's something that I think about. It's not that I'm not welcoming. I would like to think that the person that I am and the person that I will be becoming is going to be accepting to that change. So like I've always been a big fan that change is just everywhere, right? If you are set in your ways, you're going to get left behind. And that's my honest opinion about it. Like I think stick to your principles as a person, right? Like of course, like your morals, your principles, all that. But I think it's important to know that as you change, as times change, that you have to adapt to that. And I would like to think that, depending on like the scale we're looking at, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, that me as a person, I'm similar, but I've changed, like, I guess relatively in those years. Not just physically, but also mentally and like, I guess spiritually and all that sort of stuff as well.
Well, that was a very political answer.
Was it? That was like my honest answer.
Like politician just...
Oh, that was like my honest, like...
Yeah, I know, but it was above the ball. But grey hairs, wrinkles...
It doesn't really affect me, man.
Doesn't affect you?
I don't have it. I have like 2 grey hairs. I have one on my forearm and one in like my porn stash.
It would take a bit to get that hair to go grey. It's dark.
Yeah, but I mean, but then I feel like if it does go grey,
The contrast.
it's the contrast one, but it also just like be super obvious, right? And then like it'll just like, and like I feel like from me as a person, from seeing how I've like grown up and changed throughout my life, I feel like it'll just be like one day I'll just be like all grey, and I just be like, fuck, when did this come from?
I don't.
Right?
The greys don't bother me.
What bothers you? Wrinkles?
Probably more wrinkles than greys.
Why wrinkles? Because like it's like a sign of aging, or
Just if it. I feel like it would be as that starts to come in. When you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like forcing you to accept that you are old now.
right?
Do you know what I mean? Whether it plays on the internal mentality of still feeling young, still feeling energetic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do know what you mean. It's like the physical reminder, I guess. Like looking in the mirror. Is that what you mean? Like the physical reminder that like you're not.
Well, they say age is a number and it's all a mindset, right? So if you feel young,
Yeah.
then you're going to be young.
Correct. So this is where I think jiu-jitsu is really, really nice. So I think like jiu-jitsu, in regards to like your joints and stuff, I feel like it ages you, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
But I also feel like with the lifestyle that I lead, right, and the knowledge that I have in regards to looking after myself, I feel like I know how to keep relatively young with my body, even though I've been through the wars.
And there's also the argument then on the flip side that if you weren't doing jiu-jitsu and you weren't doing that level of exercise, that you would be aging quicker.
I could be worse. off.
For sure. Because
right?
you're obviously a healthy guy who's exercising lots.
Yeah.
He's looking after his cardiovascular system. And I think, when we look at anti-aging, I think it unfortunately conjures up the images of like Botox and filler, which is like a huge industry. And
I don't really understand that stuff at all, huh? Like,
rampant.
I feel like that is never crosses my mind.
No, it doesn't
slightest.
cross my mind either.
Yeah.
But within I suppose, the health and gym and fitness space, there's certainly no shortage of, what's the word I'm looking for? Vanity, maybe.
Right.
And so, like that's just a very small segue from working out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no shortage of people that are very obsessed with their appearance in the health and fitness space.
Of course. I mean, it's such a. I mean, I feel like aesthetic or like looking at things aesthetically is a big motivator for people going to the gym anyway, right? Like in regards to wanting to be healthy, just how they look, right? Not necessarily.
Fucking oath.
And that could be whether and like I know people that fucking look phenomenal from never working out, just like genetics, right?
Yeah.
And there are some people that really have to work hard to look great, and that like it is what it is in regards to that. The thing that's nice about jiu-jitsu though, in regards to the aging, is I feel like it keeps me spiritually quite young, because I feel like I'm in a room where there are younger people than me, and I remember being like the youngest in the room as well. And I think because
I think that's what I'm used to being, is the youngest in the room, and now I'm starting to not be.
Right. And is that a problem for you?
It's not a problem. It's just different.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I agree. I think it is different. But I think it was always bound to happen, right? Like unless you planned on dying at 20, right? Like, I think. And I remember, like the one thing that really baffles me. Well, not baffles, but the thing that's probably surprised me the most is I remember being 18 and training jiu-jitsu and meeting like people early 30s or maybe even mid 30s. And they were saying, just wait till you're 30, man. You're going to be sore. Like, you won't be able to train as hard as you are. And I'm like, nah, I reckon I'll be good. I reckon I can train just as hard. And now that I am 30, I'm like, fuck.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's that youth mentality where you're a savage.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm saying, if you start to recognize the signs of aging in the reflection, could that toy with that mindset?
I don't think so. I think as long as you're accepting of change, it's fine. So like for me, I remember like I was telling you in like 2015 to 17, I probably had like over 100 matches a year.
Yeah, it's
right?
insane.
There's no fucking way I'm doing that now.
No way.
Like I was competing every 2 weeks, like in tournaments. So like not even just like super fights, tournaments.
Yeah.
Have like maybe 5 to 8 matches in a day. And yeah, there's no fucking way I'm doing that now. One, I would have a terrible home life, work life balance. It'd be fucking shit, right? I wouldn't be able to do the things I want to do. Would be making like no money. Would not be hanging out with my dogs or my wife. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast, right? It'd just be like train, compete,
Yeah.
compete. But I also don't want to do that. I don't want to like fight that much in a year.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's like I think me growing up to the person I am now, I'm kind of like more happy. I'm more content. I feel like back then maybe I was a little bit more insecure. I wanted to prove myself as like the young buck. I wanted to be like I need to fucking go now. Right? But I feel like I've achieved certain things. I haven't achieved everything I wanted to achieve, but I've achieved not more than I thought, but I've achieved enough to where I am like somewhat content with how far I've come, and I'm proud of the things that I've done. So in that mindset, I think I'm like, well, I guess I feel different to how I did a couple of years ago. And so with that in mind, I'm like, well, have I grown? Yes. Am I a better person? Maybe. Have I changed? Absolutely. Right. So I think as long as you're accepting of that, and then I think it's just the way you want to look at it. Right.
You sort of answered it, but a question that came up to me when you were explaining that was in the things that you set out to achieve that you haven't, so your failures, what have you learned from those experiences? Is there anything that stands out for you? When you think about the biggest ones.
So it depends if I want to look at it from a positive mindset or a negative mindset.
Give me both.
Right. So from like a negative mindset, I can be very salty about this. Right. I can be very salty that during the COVID times, 2 years were taken out of like the prime of my life.
Yes, we've had that chat. Yep.
Right. And that like looking back, I remember it was such a shit time. I remember like there were days, and I haven't told anyone this, but I'd be fucking, because I had the exemption to train, I'd go train, and then I'd go to like the car park, and I'd just like sit in the car park and cry a bit. I'd just be like, fuck, I'm like training for like no reason. There's like the thing that I've set out to do, like my mission in life is completely meaningless, and I don't know when this is going to end. Right. And I remember just being like, what is the fucking point? But then as things go full circle, I met a guy in America many years ago, my good friend Ivan, actually. I'd love for him to come to Melbourne. He's unfortunately like a busy individual. He's got one of the best like outlooks on life. He's like one of the best people I've ever met. And I like to like think about what he said to his son one day. I can't remember what his son asked him, but his reply was, "Son, you have a great life no matter what." And he was like, "Why?" And he was like, "You're loved, you have food in your plate, and you have a roof over your head."
Yeah, your gratitude.
Right? You have to be grateful, and if you have those three things, right, you can achieve the things you want to achieve, and you can be happy. I remember that just like set in for me, and I was like, "Fuck, that's a really simple way of looking at life." And that like those three things really motivated me like throughout, I guess, like the lockdown period. Obviously didn't get to compete at all in that time. I'm grateful that I now have that. Like I married the woman that I was dating in lockdown, and she was working, I wasn't working. She managed to like look after me on that front. She was very accepting of the situation I was in, because she knew that mentally I wasn't in the best place. You know, I was like stuck at home doing absolutely nothing. I remember there were days I was like, I would walk the dogs. I walked the dog. I only had one dog at the time. And like, I didn't even want to hang out with her. I was like, I'm just fucking done. I would literally be like playing video games like 8 hours a day. It was like, it was a super toxic time in my life, man. I was fucking like, I remember like speaking to friends about it and just being like, I just don't feel like I'm me. All right, so that's that negative point of view in regards to like being salty about not being able to change the circumstance, right? And like not being able to achieve the things I wanted to achieve that were out of my control, and somewhat therefore failures, right? But the positive way to look about it was I came out of the other end. I came out the other end a better person, I think. You know, I learned more. In some ways, I don't think I'm better. In some ways, I think I'm worse. Just in regards to like certain habits. Like I remember like for like a year after lockdown, I like wasn't having breakfast, things like that. Just like sleeping less, just because I was like used to like having a shit routine for 2 years. I had to like fix that about myself. And like looking at it from like a positive point of view though, having the knowledge that I was in a rut and I got out of it, and that things are gonna be okay, even in such a first world problem bad time, right? Is that like I'm gonna be all right in life, and like I think I was just accepting of that change. Yeah, I'm 2 years older. I'm still like not old, but 2 years older. I didn't get to do much in that time. Other people did. I'm still grateful for the people that I had around me during those times, though. Even that podcast we did in that one lockdown, when you had purple hair, pink hair, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that was a good reflection of my mental health in the
Dark days, dude.
period
Dark
as well.
days. And I remember, so I've only been ticketed twice. One was that fucking time.
Ticketed.
Yeah, I got ticketed
Like
parking the
parking
loading.
ticket.
Yeah, I parked in
Yeah.
that loading zone, and I was like, "Isn't everywhere shut?"
Yeah, that is bullshit that they were still giving out parking tickets.
Like, what the
COVID.
fuck
Like,
is
what the
this?
fuck?
Right? And the other fucking one in lockdown was so it was only when year 12s are going to school, but I was driving at 46 in a school zone at 9:26 when it ends at 9:30.
And you got done.
And like I'm the only car on the road on Punt Road, right? So I don't even think I noticed how fast or how slow I was going.
No doubt.
I remember getting done. I remember being fucking furious.
I-
I was
that-
fucking like
That
flipping
could
shit.
be enough in that mindset to just topple you over.
Oh, I was fucking furious, dude. I remember just being like, "What the fuck is this?" And then seeing like the numbers on it, and being like, "I'm paying this much for like driving like 2 kilometers," because I think the leeway is like 5, like in Melbourne, right?
I don't
Anyway,
exactly know.
I was driving 46.
I'm
it's meant to be
driving around on 1 point at the moment.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
What do you do, bro?
I just have a need for speed.
Fucking Toretto over here.
I tell you what, I'm just oblivious to it sometimes. Look, like I don't drive recklessly.
It sounds like you do.
Fuck, I shouldn't even probably say this, but since I put the bigger tires on my car,
Uh-huh.
my speedo's out. Right, because the diameter I'm actually
Do we have to
covering
cut
more
this?
distance. But like I've learned and I've figured out that my speedo is actually about 5% out.
okay,
So
right.
sometimes maybe I forget that actually I need to be driving under what my dash is telling me.
Yeah.
But it's more just I don't know. Shit happens. They get you.
Yeah.
They get you.
Motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah, it's not hard. Like it's not hard to drive 4 kilometers over the speed limit.
No, it's not hard at all, right? Especially if there's no cars on the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I remember being furious because it was like peak lockdown as well, and I was like, "How the fuck did I get done?" I'm like, "There's nothing open."
And that is the stuff that really drives me mad. Like the one that it pissed me off just because it made no sense. So down in
This is meant to be a positive podcast,
down in Church Street, there's
like Church Street, Richmond.
in Brighton.
Okay.
There's diagonal parking.
Yep.
Like on the side of the street. So I'm on, and the diagonal parking was on the right hand side, and I was driving on the left. So to then get into that park forwards, especially in my car, was a hell of a angle. Very tough to sort of pull in from that side. So I went forward and reversed in, right? Which to me was a safer thing to do. Not only then when I'm coming out of that park,
It's
do I
just-
not have to reverse out?
Yeah.
And I got fucking booked.
Are you not
Because
allowed to do that?
You're not allowed to reverse into a diagonal park in Victoria. And there's no sign on the road that says, or in the parking section that says that you have to park in forwards. There is absolutely no signage to say so. And when I wrote in about it to try and get out of it, they said that it's obviously my responsibility to be up with all the Victorian state laws. I then went up to Noosa a couple of weeks later,
And you could do that.
and the signage and the rule was that you could only reverse in. So you're just fucking stealing my money. Just it's just a fucking money making scheme. Like I understand certain rules and laws, of course,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
for the
yeah.
safety and the well-being.
But this doesn't. I mean, that doesn't change
this
anything.
did
yeah.
not change a fucking thing. If anything, the way that I
Safer.
did it made more sense logically. And
That's a
you're still going to
fucking-
book
that's a
me.
fucking
Fuck,
trip, dude.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that would piss me off.
Councils,
That would fucking
mate,
piss. No, but also because like I remember doing my driving test and like learning about like the road rules and stuff. and there's nothing that mentions that in like
No.
any kind of like.
And it's different state to state by the sound.
I mean, I did it in Victoria as well, but like did you learn driving?
I learned in
Tas-
Tassie.
Yeah, and I did my driving test here, and no, I'd never heard of that one. Not in a 45-degree park.
Yeah. Anyway, first world problems, huh?
First world problems. People are starving. We're like, we can't fucking park like this, dude.
So, you know what? Like, that was one of the things that shit me right through lockdown, though, was...
Not having balance.
Nah, more the... Well, that was one of them, for sure. But the kind of... I don't know if you'd call it toxic positivity, but, for example, my landlord and I did not get along very well through the lockdown period.
Is this your current landlord?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys good now?
We're all right now.
Yeah.
But he was involved in the war. He's an old Polish man.
Uh-huh.
So in his reality and perspective, when we talk about life being bad and tough, and you spoke about it before.
It's different. It's relatively different.
But just because we don't have bombs dropping doesn't mean that my problems aren't my problems. Correct. It's all relative to what you're used to, how you've come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's literally how like alimony works in America in regards to like a divorce settlement, huh? Have you heard about that shit?
Tell me.
So you know the actor Brendan Fraser?
Nope.
Have you seen The Mummy?
Yes.
Like, you know, like
the movies.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, like the main guy, like Tarzan. He was like, no,
He's
sorry,
good,
George of the Jungle.
handsome guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was at the peak of his career, right? When his wife divorced him.
Okay.
Right? And to pay for her alimony, and I'll tell you the stats in a second, I kind of like roughly know it.
It's a percentage, yeah?
Yeah, so he had to pay her, I believe it's something like $1 million a year in alimony.
And because she locked in that percentage while he was at the top of his career, which is not the normal for what he was earning.
But then to pay her, right? He to pay her, he took a bunch of like shitty movie jobs, and he fucking ruined his career with it. And he didn't act for like 15 years, man. He didn't act for ages until recently with The Whale, and he got like a bunch of awards and shit. He like put on weight. He had a stutter. He was this confident, good-looking guy.
Oh, he got really fat, didn't he?
Yeah,
really, really fat. What was that movie?
The Whale. The Whale.
Okay.
Yeah, like I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it's really good. It got awards and stuff. But yeah, so she divorced him in like the peak of his career. He had to make some interesting like business choices to like obviously like scrounge up the money to like keep paying his ex-wife, and made some bad, I guess, acting decisions based on like the roles he was taking.
The necessity to make money, yeah.
Yeah, and then went through like a real bad time, and yeah, he didn't get like a good role for ages. He like put on a bit of weight, like a lot of weight actually. And then in interviews till The Whale, like he had like a stutter and stuff. He just wasn't a confident person speaking anymore. He was like a very different kind of individual. And then only recently, I guess he's got like a massive like standing ovation for the movie and stuff. It's good to see him like, I guess, like come out of that scene.
You're a fan, huh? You like The Mummy? Craig
was the one that actually told me about that story. I didn't know enough. I don't even know why Craig knows about Brendan Fraser, but he like told me that, and I was like, because he like, I guess, educated me on how alimony worked and things like that in America.
Well, the courts never favour too.
Sorry?
The male? The courts don't favour the males that well in divorce court.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a global thing or if it's, yeah.
I think it's fairly Western.
Yeah, okay, right.
But again, I'm talking out my ass. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I saw a incident of that recently where there was a professional soccer player, but he had all his assets in his mum's name.
I did see that, and this is one of those like skeptical things, like a Wikipedia thing, right? Where like I saw it on like an image.
I thought you said Wikipedia was fact.
It's fact. I'm just talking out my ass, right? It's fact. It's fucking fact. But like if you see like an image with like stats on it, and like I don't know if that's fucking real or not. You know, like I can fucking write anything on an image. And
True.
Right. So I did hear about that though, and I did see like the somewhat like clickbait kind of article that was, and yeah, that could be true. Like where he married some woman, right, and then she wanted to take him for half his shit, but his stuff was in his mom's name.
Yeah.
I actually learnt at uni. When I was at uni, there was one subject I had called commercial law, and this isn't even about commercial law, but I guess the guy was really like felt really strongly about like divorce law. But the lecturer was like, if you guys are ever going to go through a divorce, let me tell you something. I was like, okay. I don't even know if this is like I mean, he was a lecturer. I won't say his name. I can't remember his name. And I hope that he's correct because I'm going to say this now publicly. But he was saying that if you're ever going to go through a divorce, he was like, put your money in crown chips and put it in the crown bank.
What's crown chips?
So like
the casino.
Yeah, like the casino. So there's no interest
and you can chip them.
Yeah.
You can store them there.
Yeah, you can store them and it doesn't count as asset because it's crown's asset. So they can't be taken away from you.
It makes sense.
I was like,
it's just hiding money, really.
It's effectively hiding money. But I remember then thinking like, fuck, casinos. I mean, I really knew that gambling was like not the best thing you can do in like a pretty, and like I knew like I'd
not
heard
many
stories
casinos
of
go broke.
and I'd heard of stories of people like ruining their lives in casinos. So I knew it was like a pretty like toxic place. I don't like to gamble. Do you like?
No,
yeah.
I'm not really a gambler either.
Yeah, I'm not a gambler at all.
I mean, if you want to see a bit of a sad and sorry scene, have a walk through the casino. You see a lot of people
I've been
on
to
those
Vegas.
slots.
I've been to Vegas.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a bit depressing when if you take a moment to step back and just observe
and not just look at the lights and shit, right?
Yeah. It's actually quite a sad scene.
Yeah. So apparently, if you can fucking hide your cash in crown chips and then keep it in crown, the law can't touch it.
Well, if you're going through a divorce, there has been the best takeaway advice from this podcast episode.
I'm not a lawyer.
All right, sweet. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Peace.